There's Max looking at sparklies because it's that time of day. He's right with me. He's not chewing on the project bags right now, but he might. All right, third time's the charm here. So, I'm Robin the Generous Stitcher. Welcome to my Flosstube. And this is about cross stitch. If I get to go to Teresa Koget's punch needle class at the Jingle Ball this year, maybe I'll do some punch needle in the future. I've wanted to learn that. So I have, it's first time, first Flosstube of October 14th. I have one start. I have, I keep looking at this going, oh yeah, I worked on that, didn't I? Let me pause and come back. Okay, I swear, if things were snakes, I'd be dead by now. So, I had one start. It relates to a class, and the class, I'm going to show that in more detail. And I'm going to do a bit of a health update because a lot of you know that I got COVID at the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, and I'm in my 4th week of asthma. I saw my pulmonologist yesterday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is, this is like typical when people have had serious viral illnesses and they have first stage COPD with asthma, they have problems." And so I'm getting better a little bit, not every day, but a little bit every week. And he's like, take your medication for 4 months without pause. And if you're not better in 10 weeks, I want to see you again. Hey, this is Robin the Generous Stitcher, and there was a part that I meant to tell you about that related to my health update. So while I've been battling this, oh, here's Willow. Hi, Willow. So while I've been battling this asthma, sorry, I don't want to be a floating head here, but yeah, so I've been battling this asthma, going to urgent care because I'm having chest pains that are related to my lungs and then being healing or injured, and not related to anything like a heart attack because I don't have that. So I went and they gave me prednisone, and some of my friends, sorry, I hate looking down at this thing. Some of my friends are like, oh, that's the best stuff for my asthma. Well, it was like me being on meth, and I don't do stimulants except for caffeine, and I've never wanted to. That's just not my idea of a good time. And so for the 2 days that I took prednisone, 2 hours before I was supposed to be headed to bed, I spent those hours obsessively organizing my cross stitch, like taking all my whips from the white dresser all over the place and putting them in a banker box, and then putting the ones that were not in light tight, that were in light tight project bags, in a box that didn't have a lid, where I had all my whips before. And then the next night, I reorganized all my specialty flosses. So yeah, I don't recommend taking prednisone, and I don't recommend using other stimulants to obsessively reorganize your cross stitch, because I wasn't sure that I would remember what I did the next day. So anyway, that was what was going on that I forgot to mention. I stopped taking it, but I basically slept 2 nights or 2 hours, like maybe 4 or 5 hours the first night when I had taken 1 pill, and then I had 2 pills, and then I slept 2 hours the following night when I'd had the 3rd pill and realized, oh, I got to stop this. So, yeah. I'm better now. I'm sleeping fine. It's like, okay. So, anyway. And due to some of the health issues I've had, I haven't been stitching, and I will talk about that after I show my whips. So I'm looking through my my calendar, and I did one day I did work, or one evening I did work. Ooh, I'll make sure that needle doesn't fall out or poke me. Stick it right. Oop. Okay. My laptop's magnetized, so I went to set the needle down and it grabbed it. So anyway, this is a gathering of acorns from Fox and Rabbit. It was an exclusive in 24 for the gathering for the Acorn Gathering Nuts mini retreat at Acorns and Threads, and this brick stuff is driving me crazy. So I kind of left my needle or my thread dangling because I got frustrated with trying to do the mortar, because I like to do one color and then, you know, complete it and then move into something else. But anyway, I ended up going back up to the roof, and you can't really see my progress. This roof I did half stitches and finished the roof to the chimneys, and so now I'm going back across the half stitches and making them full crosses. So can't really see it, but there is more full crosses up here in the roof than there were. That's only one evening's worth of work. So, okay, and the picture for this whip, I will show the pattern picture up there. So that was one night, and then I've had more time to work on the Christmas gift for my great niece. This is Japanese Bantam by Lindy Stitches. Oh, and this is on 14 or 16 count Ada, which is Up in the Attic by Fox and Rabbit. All right, so this is, if I can get, okay, there it is. All right. This is Japanese Bantam, and the chicken is really starting to, I started working on his head, and I kind of ran out of time to work on it before I moved on to the other whip that I really need to get finished sooner than this one. But this is going to go pretty quick, I think, once I get the mount hood bib done. So, and this is, unfold it one more time. This is on Unmellow Yellow from Mystic Fabric, and there we go. I'm getting a little bit of light there. You can see some flashes of light from, it's been windy here today. So beautiful fall day, bright sunny, leaves are turning, not as hot as it's been, and I think it's supposed to, actually my phone said a couple hours ago it's supposed to rain in 2 hours. Well, the horizon is clear, so it's not going to rain here in 2 hours. It's going to rain here sometime tonight. So anyway, Mystic Fabric, Unmellow Yellow, 36 count. All right, get it folded and put back in the project bag. And oh, left the needle. Oh, great, now the needle's really, oh, I almost got swallowed by the computer because of the magnetism. Just want to get this needle back in the project bag with the acorn gathering piece. So, okay, I only have one more whip, and this is what I'm calling the mount hood bib. It has a bib, or sorry, this bib has mount hood and part of a tree from the Blue Flowers Forest Home pattern, which was an exclusive in 2022 with Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. I missed that one, but I ended up when last year, yeah, like 2 years ago, when I had a parent who was having a baby, and they said, well, I like nature, do something with nature on their bib. So I was asking my stitchy friends, and they're like, oh, get Forest Home. It's got a lot of nature motifs on it. And so Mount Hood, and now when parents see the Mount Hood bib as part of my pictures, they're like, ooh, I want Mount Hood. So at least this is the twice. And this parent wanted her husband snowboards on Mount Hood, and he cannot wait to teach his little boys how to snowboard with him. I do not, the mom is my coworker. I do not know if she snowboards too, but I'm stitching her on the bib as a snowboarder. So anyway, so far I have 2 snowboarders, leaping through. Is that one? Oh no, that one's. They're both going downhill, but they may or may not collide. But anyway, and then over here, I've started stitching the board, and there'll be a snowboarder that sits on top of the board. That's actually this blank space right there is the third color of the board, and that's where the glove of the snowboarder and the rest of the body of the snowboarder is going to go. And I put this needle in the bib just because I wanted to know where the far edge of the snow and the snowboarder were in my bib. And then I'm going to have another snowboarder that looks like they are snowboarding off of Mount Hood. And so this is something that, they wanted snowboarders, and I had a Jeannette Cruz sport equipment, one-nighter pattern book, but no snowboarders. The sport was kind of too early for it to be captured in. I'm trying to be careful because the needle's pokey there. So what I did, and what I have done, where have had a request to do a pattern of something that isn't readily available, or that I haven't been able to find in cross stitch, and perhaps somebody has done snowboarders in cross stitch. I just haven't found it, and I didn't really have time to do an extensive search. So what I have done in the past, and this is not something that I would ever sell because I'm not sure that it is a copyright issue, but I found online all these different snowboarders and snowboard equipment, just so I knew what it looked like. And then you can kind of see I traced around them, and then I built a makeshift light board with a translucent cutting mat, and held up this traced photos on my cutting board mat, and then I took my graph paper and I traced each figure. So this one I haven't stitched yet. This one is the one I'm stitching right now. The board at this end is where I've started. And then this one has a red jacket and is closest to the tree. And then this one is the smallest one. And the caption for the thumbnail photo was "girl riding snowboard" or something like that. Or I guess one of them is a girl jumping with a snowboard. I don't have a caption for this one, but this one, they're wearing like a red cap. It's kind of hard. It doesn't look like a helmet. That's kind of scary, because this is like a sport that's rough, and lots of people I know who snowboarded say, "Oh yeah, I broke my leg." you know, I know many more people who've skied that haven't said they broke a bone, but this is not an easy sport. And so this picture of the person in this, yeah, in this snowboard, they have this huge wave of snow, and sorry, I'm hearing noises. I've been hearing noises all day because the wind's high, and so like next to my office there's a giant rose bush, and so the wind's been banging the rose bush with all the thorns against my window. So it's not exactly creepy, but I keep thinking, what are the cats doing? So, but the cats aren't there. So anyway, this particular figure had a patterned jacket, like a print. And I've done camo twice now in patterns. So I've made a camo letter for some people who requested it. So I was not about to do a patterned jacket. So I basically took 3 of the flosses, which are in the pattern itself, and made this. I basically took 3. I took the goggle color, which makes it really look like sort of a robot, I think, unfortunately, and the light red from the board and from their helmet, because I made this stocking cap into a helmet rather than a stocking cap, and then the white from the snow, which is B5200, and I just did a trip. I do 3 strands when I do bibs, and so this is a triple stranded floss, and then it's just making like stripes. So anyway, and I have a picture from Pinwis where I had all of my figures on a piece of graph paper in a row, and then I basically cut them out into these blocks, and then I played with the blocks on the bib to know, well, what motifs are where and how are they going to fit. So that's what I do and have done to create something that I couldn't find for a cross stitch pattern. And so what I want to do, because so the legs on this one, the legs on this person is they're half kneeling off the board, and they're at an extreme angle because they're half off their board, falling into the snow, or they're tilting the board. So you know, when you're tilting, like when you're surfing, so they are surfing on the snow, and they've got one knee down on the snow, kind of like keeping them somewhat upright. And so that didn't translate too well into my pattern, unfortunately. And my arms are rather pathetic. So I'm going to rechart this and recolor the chart. Some of the colors I like, some of them I don't really like. So, you know, this is something that I have a deadline to get it done. So it is what it is, and I'm not changing it now. I lost 2 weeks of stitching on this due to COVID, and so I really want to have these patterns kind of fix the mistakes I've made on the pattern and I'm kind of fixing some of the mistakes I've done on the pattern as I'm stitching it, which a lot of us do when we cross stitch. We find mistakes or we make mistakes, and then we have to fix them somehow. So that's where I am with the Mount Hood bib, and I just started I finished the second figure last night, and I started the third figure last night, excuse me. And so I think I will definitely get the third figure stitched this week, and I think I will definitely have this done before Halloween. and maybe before my next floss tube for the October. So it'll be my October finish. And then the other piece, the chicken, will be a November finish. It would be great if I could finish it this month too, but I just think there's going to be enough stitching that it's going to be too much stitching for me to get done. Although I am going to get into plans, I'm going to the 1120 Crafter Retreat in Bend at Cynthia's of Bend, and that's on October 25th. And I don't know, but I suspect there are still slots available, and it's not very much money if you would like to join us. And it was really nice last weekend when I went to Acorns and Threads, and I was standing in line to purchase my items, and there was a woman in front of me that was saying, "Oh yeah, we just moved here. I'm not sure I like it, but there's no LNS." And and I was like, "Well, where did you move to?" And she's like, "Well, we moved to Bend." And I'm like, "Oh, Cynthia's of Bend has a little cross-stitch nook. They're kind of limited with their fabrics. They're not trying to replace Acorns and Threads, but there are some cross-stitch things there. And there's this retreat that's happening in 2 weeks. So, and they probably still have slots." So I kind of steered her toward the website, and, maybe she'll be there. It would be nice. She's the second younger person I've told about Cynthia's of Bend and cross-stitching in Bend. So, most of the people are like my age or older that are participating, but, it's great to get younger stitchers who really want to do cross-stitch to find a new place and a new group to join. So, all right, and so this weekend is No Kings #2. I will be protesting with my mother-in-law. My stitchy friends, some of them will be protesting in their town. They're actually going to be stitching at Acorns and Threads first, and then because their rally starts later in the day than mine does. Mine starts in the morning. So if I'm not too exhausted with all the walking to get to where we set up and then walking back to where we parked, I might go to Acorns and Threads at the end of, later in the afternoon. I don't know. It's kind of a drive from where I'm at to get to Acorns and Threads. So, and last time, the last No Kings, we were starving. So we're like, okay, let's go eat. So I think that's all of the plans. So now I'm going to show you the new start I had. And so at the beginning of the month, Acorns and Threads had a class with Susan Standley. She's a Stitch in Time. That's her floss tube. And we did Little Violet, which is a Berlin work piece. And what was special about Berlin work is that Berlin work, a lot of it, really took off in Berlin, Germany, but that kind of ability to do the work and to have the materials was a conflux of having the Industrial Revolution and then some classes of women being able to have more leisure time. And so they could do more needlework. And I look at this and I think, yeah, this is so Victorian, because Victorian stuff was fussy and busy. And this particular piece and some of the other pieces that you look at, if you look in a book about Berlin wear, they show figures that are wearing costumes which are not Victorian. So it's more like a romantic, fantasized view of a past vignette. And I'd heard that, I think, a little bit about talking about art that was done in that time. So So I stayed home because some of the work involved wool, and I have a wool allergy, and having, 4 weeks now of asthma, I knew I could not be in a room that had wool because I already had symptoms. And so I did the Zoom version. First time I've done a Zoom event at Acorns and Threads, and it's awesome. My friend Tasha mediates the Zoom, and so, and there were other people that I've stitched with personally that were on the Zoom, and there were also people from Austria and the United Kingdom and like Minnesota or Michigan and North Carolina, no, Georgia. She was from Georgia. I think somebody else was from North Carolina, and Washington. That was somebody that comes and stitches at the shop that I recognized. And so anyway, we got this box. It had this cute little graphic on the bottom. And as you can see, it's a long, skinny box. And so when we opened it, you can see on the pictures what I found. Now I've unwrapped everything. And so I haven't decided. It's such a cute box. I almost don't want to recycle it. But inside the box were 3 things. And the first thing I saw was right on the top. Canvas kit is cotton, not wool, because I had expressed that I would, and a sweetheart. I had expressed that I have this allergy, and so I can't do this project if it's wool. It just, I can't. And inside there was this pattern for the little violet pattern, and this is basically it's full coverage. It's not very big, but it is lots of, as you can see, lots of confetti, lots of multicolored threads. And so this was because of the Industrial Revolution, lots of different chemical dyes became available. The 1800s were noted for like a lot of innovations in chemistry. And so all of these bright, dyes became available for people to purchase. And the kit itself came with 2 sleeves. These are all the brown ones. 2 sleeves of silks. It's the, I never know how to say this in Verissois, I think is the French. I know there's like 2 different kinds of French silk, so I had to look and see what was on the spool. And so this was great because I put all of them in, or a bunch of them, in this little bag I got from my friend Lisa. And I only threaded 2 needles, and I only stitched 1 color. And we have a piece of 38 count. I'm gonna move the needle minder. I gotta keep with it. So I have several. I got about a bunch of needles out for this multi-color, multi-needle project, and then I only colored. Okay, this is the front. I was hoping I'd get to the blue, but I really only started stitching the brown. And so I tried to pick an area of 1 color and then stitch that 1 color, even though it's not necessarily in a, actually, am I holding it upside? Yeah, I'm holding it sideways. Even though it's not like single lines, and I just stitched and crossed as I went, or crossed a few spots when I needed to change direction. And so this is on 38 count, This is a legacy linen, which is no longer available. They were able to find a source for it, but it is not something you can find on the open market easily, or maybe not at all. And this is similar, and this is also this is linen. So this is similar to what people might be stitching on, and this makes, I tried to put a hoop on it, and the stitches are, the fabric is really tight, but I don't have any, I stitch in hand, and I don't have any small hoops. If I'd been thinking, I probably could have put a Wonder Stitch frame on it. That would have worked. But they were saying it's good to put this in a hoop, because then it holds the fabric apart, because then your stitches may, if the fabric isn't held, then your stitches may not be even. But I found it to be so tight that I didn't think my stitches were warping in any way, and they looked fine. And so, and I do have a couple different frames that are Wonder Stitch frames from the Ukraine, and so I'm gonna set that down. So, and Susan gave this great talk, and I took notes, and then I pulled this box out of my own, this book out of my own stash, and realized I had a book that talked about Berlin work, but it didn't have any color pictures. It was all, it's an older book from the 70s, so it had black and white stuff. And so besides having our cross-stitch pattern, we also had two other opportunities. Now, canvas work was the wool substitute, and so they gave me pearl cotton, and this is some canvas like you would use for needlepoint, and oh, I didn't remember there was a needle on this. So when the Victorians did this kind of work, and they did all this kind of stuff for rugs and for upholstery and things that you needed to be really sturdy. So how they would stitch this is they would go from, let me see if I can do it, right to left. They would stitch it right to left and in their row. And then they would go back up here, go right to left and in their row. So they would be stitching the X's as they went. And, I thought about this a little bit and suggested in the class that this might be a way to all these things had to be super sturdy, because if it was a rug, people are going to be walking on it and they're going to use it. If it's a chair, they're going to be sitting on the seat and using it. And so if you go with one piece of thread right to left and then tie it off, and another one right to left, tie it off, if a thread comes loose somehow, you've only got one thread to replace. You're not unraveling the entire piece if you have one thread go. So that was one of my things that I thought about as one of the reasons why they did this. Right to left, I'm left-handed, so right to left is never going to work for me. Maybe I could do it left to right, but this was a way we could experiment on how Victorians stitched. And and with the Berlin work, this kind of took off through Europe and spread to North America, where it was a huge hit. Went to Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, South America. It was sort of became a global thing where people wanted to do this because the colors were just like an explosion. That before that you had trying to open this without tearing something here, because I hadn't opened it during the class. But this was just, it was new and exciting. Everybody wanted to do it. It was a fad for a couple decades. And so, and it kind of petered out, but some areas, like in America, it still was really popular. So the other thing we had an opportunity to do was, gosh, and I don't even know what count this one is. So we had like a pattern, and I'm going to just show a corner of it because I don't want to give anything away. But there was a pattern. You can see the, oops, you can see the little dots and stuff. And it was, you know, a floral motif. And I'm looking at, so, oh, okay. And they gave you multiple printouts of this pattern, and so you could try to stick it back in the paper without the tape catching it. So you could take your colored pencils, which were also given, and you could color whatever you wanted through the pattern you were given, and multiple pictures, copies of the pattern, so you could do multiple versions. And then you could take your threads that we were given and then stitch that. And we were given a little piece of linen to do that on. And so that was another way we could just play with the colors and enjoy creating something different, but also in the style of Berlin work. And they showed a number of vintage pieces that people had collected or that are still available. Do all the crackly really quickly. So yeah, so there's still free patterns, Berlin work patterns out there on the internet. And so, okay. And I used my giant Pinwis project bag to stick it in because I wasn't sure. This is the, you know, this whole thing is a little bit taller, wider than the envelopes with the project. So I was thinking I could stick it in the white dresser and it'll fit in the drawer if like the edges of this flexible bag are bent. Uh-oh. Oh. Is it? I put my, uh-oh, I lost my chicken thread. So stick this back in the project bag. So so anyway, I will work on Little Violet at some point, but right now it's far down on the rotation. It is on my WIP list, and it is, it's a start as of October, oops, my needles are, oh, there's the, I don't like needle minders, because then the needle minders and the needles kind of come apart. Maybe I just need needle minders with stronger, sorry Max, with stronger magnets. So, all right. So I have all my stuff, except for the thing that fell out, which I will put somewhere else. So anyway, so yeah, I wasn't sure if this long box, yeah, the long box would probably fit in the white dresser. It's just this thing's more flexible and squishy. So I thought, let's use that. So, all right, so we've gone over WIPs, plans. I am planning on going to Jingle Ball. Although there's so many things that I like, I'm like, I can't purchase all those PDFs. I'm gonna have to make some hard decisions. And I do like the Annie B's pair, and would love to get the kit for that. Not sure I can make it because those things like go quick, but Lindy Stitches did a buying your tickets and getting kits sort of hints, where if it says it's sold out, if you put it in your box, if people don't purchase it within a certain amount of time, it comes out of their box and it goes back into the ether. So I'm going to try to flex off work so I can be there when it opens, so I can get my admission ticket and go for that pair kit. And then I'm going to log out, and then I'm going to get the PDFs for everything else later, because I do want to go to the punch needle class. And I could probably just go to Teresa Kogut's YouTube, Flosstubes, and probably do, learn similar things for free. But I've wanted to do this, and some of my friends have tried punch needle on their own, and they've watched the videos, but then they purchase things, and the things, you use them and they immediately break. Hobby Lobby stuff. So I really want to know, like, what does she use and what does she recommend in terms of products? So, because I don't want to buy something that's going to break when you use it one time. And I do have weaver cloth at home and lots of flosses. So I think that's it. So I think I've covered everything. And like I say, I have my Fabric of the Month pairing, which I might stick in before this point. And then I have the 30+ minute video of curated cross stitch collection. So if you're not interested in seeing what I bought this month, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. But that's going to be the last segment, the last 30 minutes. So thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Hi, this is Robin the Generous Stitcher again, and I wanted to do my Fabric of the Month pairing and do that before the extremely long curated cross stitch collection. So I got this Fabric of the Month, and it's called Eras. Take it out of the crackly plastic. It is it's blue, greenish blue, and sort of peach color. Sorry, it's not sure if turning off this light will help. No, not really. So there's some sort of peach down here, and heavily modeled. Let me actually, there, if I pull it out, you can kind of see the peach modeling. And so when I got this, I immediately thought of nautical patterns, and I do have a pattern that is Jeannette Douglas, Seasons by the Sea. That's the let me see. And when did she start? In the spring? I can't remember if she started this in the spring or the winter. So it's like her Seasons of the Garden series, except this is Seasons by the Shore. And I have all the thread packs for all the different seasons. And, as I was looking with the thread packs against this fabric, and so the fabric is kind of more washed out. Well, maybe. So some of these, let's see if I can grab the one that was really, I was trying to push things. Max was up here, and I was trying to push things so they were sort of out of his way. So I was looking at winter first, and I was just thinking about how some of the threads right there really match this fabric, but a lot of the other threads don't. So, and that's more the case with winter and spring than fall and summer. And so, let's see, it's like, yeah, I'm just looking at the pattern. It's hard to tell which quarter it starts in. So, but it goes around like that, like the seasons of the garden. And so, anyway, I immediately thought of this for this Jeannette Douglas series because I have all the patterns. I went to the Jeannette Douglas Count Be Correct class at Acorns and Threads this spring. I think that was April, beginning of April in 2025, and we kind of had a trunk show model stitch. People brought in stuff. I don't think Jeannette brought much, but we had some people who had done different stitches and models of her. So anyway, I have the Count Be Correct like package of the sampler and the smalls, and I'm working on one of the smalls that I hope I will get done this early in 2026, just to get it off my list. And I'm making like a scissor fob from that class. And so anyway, when I was looking at all the different patterns and that people I knew in the shop had stitched, I really liked the Seasons by the Sea, and of course liking nautical and ocean things that spoke to me. So you can see, you know, this spring there's going to be things that stick out, and then I guess I'm more concerned that this part will be more fading into the background. There are a lot of metallics in these, and so they will pop out, and I think that'll work. So anyway, that is my pairing for October, and I was really happy that I could feel like this was going to match, because this is a big piece, and it's originally stitched on Zweigart Silkweaver Meadow Mist, and which is, you know, kind of a whitish color, which isn't bad. It's not beige, you know. I thought maybe a sand color might work too. Not anything that's heavily colored, but you know, when I got this, I was like, hey, you know, this is ocean, and the ocean, you know, knowing the Pacific, the ocean's color does change a little bit in the season, but you know, her threads and specialty stitches take care of that. So, you know, that's my choice, and I will be stitching all these pieces together. Thank you. So I shopped till I dropped, practically, literally 2 hours at Acorns and Threads open house. They had like snacks. I didn't have any, but I did talk to a lot of people and, you know, catch them up on how well I'm doing. You know, I may sound a little more normal. Still having a lot of asthma symptoms, and I'm gonna see my specialist on that on Monday. So let's get to the curated cross-stitch collection, and I'm gonna tell you a story about some of my curated cross-stitch collection earlier that you'll already have heard, so you understand kind of the white dresser is no longer overflowing. So I bought some more stuff to refill it. All right, so I've just got a pile here, and and I gotta remember to do this too. So my spouse got home just a few minutes ago and he was asking me about how do I shop in a specialty store? And I always, whether I'm going to the grocery store or Acorns, well, since I'm doing more cross stitch, since now that when I go to Acorns and Threads, I have a shopping list. And wouldn't you know, I forgot my shopping list, but there was only one thing on here which I didn't get, which Acorns and Threads doesn't really, they have some things you can use for that, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. So that's okay that it's not on here. Everything else on my list I did get today, unless it was a floss color that was out of stock. And there was actually a lot of people shopping for specialty flosses today. And at one point I'm standing there and some people are getting some stuff and they mention a color and it's right in front of me, and so I pick it up and I hand it over to them, and then they said, oh well, we need such and such color, and I'm like, it's out. I needed it too. So anyway, so let's begin. I might do the flosses. I don't know where Willow is, and if she knows I'm doing floss, she's gonna come running. I get stuff out of the way so I can just do this super quick. So in Pinwist 2024, one of the swag was we got this nice vinyl bag, and I put specialty flosses in it. It's not great to store it because, you know, light can get to it, but I had just emptied it. As you can imagine, on Tuesday night, and or no, was it Tuesday night? No, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday night, and so I had. I'm just gonna like show these and pop them back in. So I got a bunch of gentle arts that go for the kitty calendar patterns. Well, I've used some of them for kitty calendar, but yeah, they go for some different things I've been kitting up. And so gentle arts, just pulling them off gentle arts. This is Coral Reef. I like it. Gentle Arts. This is Clover. When I was pulling it off the wall, I kind of thought it was going to be green, but then it's like, oh, it's the clover color of the flower. Gentle Arts Midnight, which I think is in the kitty calendar. I'm probably wrong. This is Gentle Arts Wood Trail, and Gentle Art Rhubarb. I also have a rhubarb, which is a discontinued color from Cottage Garden Threads. So I think I'd like to compare the two. I got the rhubarb, or maybe it was rhubarb pie I got from Cottage Garden Threads, because I love rhubarb and it just seemed cool. So Peacock, which is another Gentle Arts. Tropical Ocean, like that one. And Chalk. And I'm trying to search for the Ohio Lemon Pie, which I was looking at it going, does that look like my mom's? My mom makes awesome lemon meringue pie. So, all right, I don't see any more. Let's see. Oh, Morning Glory and Melon Patch. And Lexington Green, which is a really pale green. Let's see, Blue Jay. And again, I'm trying to be really quick so you know who doesn't see what I'm doing? Ah, I got some more, shoot. Sorry, went flipping off the table. Carrot, which I have in my stash and I've used, but I want to do, I need it for one pattern and I need it for doing this pattern I've done before, because I did it for a smalls exchange and I want to do it for myself. So got some extra. All right, just go through. Classic Colorworks Brown Sugar was also something I needed for a pattern I was kitting up. And everything else, sorry, some fuzz. Okay, so then other things that I was kitting up, a bunch of Weeks Dye Works, Hunter, which I needed 2 of these, and I think I have 2. Oops. Onyx, that's Weeks Dye Works. Chrysanthemum, which is like one of those fall mums. Sorry, I feel like I got a hair in my mouth. So this is Carolina, I think it's Cecil. The thread is the knot of the thread. Yeah, Carolina Cecil. All right, and then kudzu, which I meant to get at Cynthia's event, but they were out, so I got some at Acorns. Caper, which really looks like a caper, which is an interesting food item. It's actually made from buds of flowers. So Concord, which I didn't realize was going to be such a variegated floss. Looking forward to using it. And hazelnut, which, coming from a place where like 90% of the United States hazelnuts are grown right around my town, that's not what they look like. Well, maybe the outside shell, the nut itself is lighter colored. So let's see. Okay, there's some more kudzu. Guacamole, which I do have in my stash, just not sure how much. And gunmetal, which will be, this is actually going to be for one of the cats in the kitty calendar. And there are, 12 different cats, and they're not all the same color, but they're sort of like, they're normal cat colors. So peach fuzz, saffron, which is the Weeks Dye Work version, grenadine, which I thought would be darker red. Oops. And red rocks. Getting down to my, okay, Loden. And, okay, another one of the hunters. Okay, so, oh, is this one more? Yes, blue coat red. So, okay, good. That's all the Weeks Dye Works. All right, and Acorns and Threads had some color and cotton that were on like a clearance, and so I got Snowflake. It's always nice to have a really bright white for different things. Spectre, which is sort of a blue-white, kind of silvery color, and I thought to myself, this might be good for some of the cats on the kitty calendar. So, and they had a color cotton their version of Hunter. So, and silver lining, which is, again would be a great cat color on the kitty calendar. and because I'm not doing called fors with the kitty calendar, I'm kind of doing what's in stash, and or if I like something. So this is a Rami's creation from Colors and Threads. Oh, I thought that was Color and Cotton. So anyway, this is pink grapefruit, and then I got a second flamingo not a second, probably a fifth flamingo pattern, and so I got some Coloris, which is that sparkly DMC, and then when I met Pirate Robin at Pinwis and we were talking about flosses, I saw this skein of Pebble. It's kind of it's a green. I'm an olive green, gray green, and I thought it would be great for the sampler that I'm designing, for the first third of the sampler, because the sampler is going to reflect different centuries. So this is the first century in my sampler design, which I'm not going to reveal until I get it model stitched. So anyway, so I got 3 skeins of it just to be sure I would have enough of this dye lot. And if I don't and it slightly changes, I think that's probably okay. All right, good. I've hidden all the flosses. And then Acorns and Threads is closing out some of the this Splendor. This is used for, at least from my understanding, and when I was talking to Jeannette about it, some of this stuff was used in needlepoint. It was used in some specialty classes that they did, but there is another place in the Portland area to specifically get needlepoint, so they're closing this out and they're not going to carry it. They will carry the treasure braid because that's still going to be used. And I think I missed looking at the Krynic, because they're kind of closing that out too, because Krynic, their machines broke, they sold their company, and so it's not really technically available, and what you see in your store is what is left. And so I thought this was nice. It's got some sparklies in these reds, so I thought, hey, this would be really cool for, you know, some Christmas holiday stitching. So, all right, got everything in this bag. Well, not everything, but I'll leave a little gap open so I can shove some more things in. Now, I thought I bought 2 of these, but I'm not seeing where the other one is. So these are some 26 count needles, and I got these for the Berlin work project, and I'm going to be getting some of those needle holder like domes, because I've got about four projects that I could use that in. And I've started 2 of them at least, or no, 3 of them. So I kind of need some of those needle dome things. And that was the question I was going to ask at the shop. Darn it. So anyway, so with my spouse asking me about specialty stores, you know, like I say, I make a list, and that's one of the lists. And this was the other list. Now, kind of from there down, there's a few things like the needle dome and needles at the top there. Spicy mustard was something I had put that in, and the Pebble from Pirate Robin. So yeah, so I find when I go to specialty shops, if I don't have a list and don't have some clear ideas of what I need to get, then I may get, especially if it's got a lot of stuff that's all crammed, I kind of get a little overwhelmed, and then I want to stop and leave and maybe not purchase anything, and then like the first experience of Acorns and Threads before they sort of expanded. And I also got some more 28 count gold needles because I really like how they slip into the fabric. I know a lot of people don't like this brand, but it works for me. All right, and then on to stuff that I've had on order for, in some cases, months. Like, actually, I thought I had this in order, and then I did. Then I got another Mill Hill from this series, and I was like, wait a minute, I want this one too. So it came, little kit, and all right, and so market pre-orders, which I will show next. And the reason we had this big shopapalooza today was this is the day we get our Acorns and Threads coupon book for 2026. And so like January's coupon, these are only good for one time in the month, and or I should say 1 month, and you go in and you shop, and then the coupon's used. So if you have multiple things you're buying in a month, I try to go, and I don't live in the Portland area, I live just outside, so for me, I plan a monthly shop. And so this, and I plan on, hey, I'm gonna do this. Threads, discount on Threads was actually September's, and I was gonna go in the last Saturday in September and do all those flosses that you saw, but got sick. And so the coupon for October was 20% off your entire purchase. So it still worked out 20% off Threads, even though that wasn't the coupon, it was everything. So, and that can really entice you to buy more, but it can also save you good money. And so let me see. Let me do it this way because I don't want these fabrics to sit on the table where the cats eat their food. So, all right, so things I've had on order. This is the longest thing I've had on order was to get a copy of the Jeannette Douglas My Stitching Album, and to make little books. And I'll show one of them. To make little books of all your specialty stitches. And I have a couple friends in Salem Area Stitchers that wanted to do this together. I don't think they've started it yet because some of us were waiting for our books to come, or they had decided they wanted to do this, but they were going to wait to pick it up like on the second printing. So this is like the second or third printing, maybe the second printing. So in market releases, let me pull out the stuff that wasn't a market release, because I did buy 4 patterns today that weren't part of the market. Oh, and so one of the market releases was Blueberry J by Jeannette Stitch, and you know, I saw this, I fell in love with the colors, and the malachite fabrics on back order, so that's the only thing I had ordered that didn't come. And because I was so struck with the Blueberry Jay, and the Stellar Jay in the photo is an Oregon native bird, we have magpies on the east side of the Cascades. Oh, sorry. Okay, Willow. She likes to open the cupboard doors and then go in there. So, but if I don't open them, then she bangs and makes lots of noise. So, Cherry Magpie was the first in this series, and I did get you know, this was stitched on Beetroot by Fox and Rabbit, and it's not really easily available or available most anywhere. Yeah, so I had not purchased it originally, and I had not purchased the fabric. And so then I did get a friend of mine is doing Roxy Floss, like Roxy Fiber or Roxy Flossco, their Temptation, which is a magenta color that's really close to this original color. So I have that in my stash, and because I ordered it before the tariffs kicked in this summer, and so I'm ready to stitch this one. Not that I'm ready to start it, but I have all this stuff. I think. Oh yeah, it's all DMC. And there's a Threadworks, and Acorns and Threads does sell Threadworks. There's also a Color and Cotton, but I can find some other substitution for that one. And they also list DMCs for that. So I have all the flosses. Okay. And then another market release this August was from, I believe it's Shaded Stitchery. I have seen her work, and I'm sorry that this is the first one I've ever purchased, because I really like her work. And so this is Broken Wings Welcomed, and it is 66 by 66, so lovely small. Although I was thinking I'm just going to do it for me. So I didn't remember that I actually got any Artsy Housewife, but I got Cozy. So, Cherry Cobbler by Roxy Flossco. Cherry Cobbler, I think, looks brighter in their picture on their online. But anyway, I have lots of different. I might use Curtain Call for this because I have a lot of different reds in my stash. So anyway, see that again. And Sprouting Lupine, you know, I just admire her so much. As a fellow scientist who does cross stitch, and I wanted to get the Gothic birdhouses because it's just funny. And so anyway, this is stitched on Gold Rush linen. I actually have a mottled yellowish color that might work for this in my stash. Mojo Stitches, there are no ordinary cats, and that's for damn sure. So this is actually stitched with Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, and DMC. And there's a DMC conversion. So I did not buy 3 of these specialty threads because I didn't have this in my hand when I was picking flosses off the wall. So I'll pick those up another time. Yeah, this is a cat piece that's going to go in the cat bathroom eventually, in that dough bowl that I'm hoping to find room for. Some, you know, and I might even just put like a rack on the wall and then put the cross stitch pieces on the rack. But then will the cats jump on it? That's the worry. So the Stitch Crypt, and this is, I had got a snail of hers for last year. I think it's maybe pumpkin snail or something, and so this is the grave snail. So I have matching patterns. And Lola Crow, Murder in the Pumpkin Patch, and I really want to start this, but I've got, yeah, I think I need to do Acorns and Friends, which was the exclusive last year at our mini retreat first. So Oh, the crow is picking the top off the jack-o'-lantern. I hadn't noticed that. Okay, and then the two things I knew had come out that were not, it had not been on a pre-order were the Fragments in Time. So they have done eight-part series, and now this year they're doing a 4-part series and a 4-part series. So this is the first part of the Christmas, which this is Little Christmas, is Gingerbread House. Let me see what it's called. Jolly Gingerbread House. And then this is Birds and Baubles, which is, yeah. So, anyway, the Halloween one will get stitched before that one, but I wanted to get it. And then Boomerang Stitches is being offered at Acorns and Threads as paper patterns. And two of the ones that I bought off the Etsy shop that I have PDFs of are now in the shop. That is Snack-a-Lantern and Great White Christmas. Oh, and I was supposed to buy variegated floss for Great White Christmas. Darn it. I'm gonna have to think about that one because I still haven't decided how I'm gonna do that. And so that'll be another visit to the floss wall for a skein or two. That's okay. Give them a chance to restock. All right, so this is another one, Rainy Day, and it's got a robin, so I liked it. And I also think some of her things are kind of similar in sort of a mid-century modern way to Robin Pickens. So if you like Robin Pickens, I think there are some things that Amity at Boomerang Stitches they're gonna appeal to you too. And I like Robin Pickens, and you know, she's got a couple different birds, and the colors and very precise drawing of the bird, they're really nice. So, and then I did get another Artsy Housewife because I ordered a bunch of double diamond fabric from Mr. Fabrics, and I've got like 5 or 6 now different flamingos that I was going to stitch on that fabric. So I picked up another one. And then also the Just Cross Stitch Christmas issue is out, and I'm sure that let's see, Seazook Stitches or East Coast Crafter Helen D, they do magazine flip throughs, so they may have already done it. Sometimes I kind of avoid the flip through episodes because I don't always go through flip through. I don't always, you know, care about some of the magazines that are shown because there's so much out there. I feel like I kind of have to limit myself. And so, but I do like just cross stitch. So I have been picking it up for the last 2 years. And I'm kind of on the edge of like, should I really get a subscription? Would that save me money? So Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine for fall came out, and you know, I'm still hoping to do Punch Needle someday, and I'm thinking I might sign up for Teresa Koget's Punch Needle class in the Jingle Ball. Not because I might do that pattern, but just because I want to see her do it, and I want her to have her talk me through what she does and how she does it. Okay, I'm looking at the time. So final haul. Oh, 2 final things in the haul, and I'm going to do the fabric first. So Atomic Ranch is currently having a trunk show at Acorns and Threads. So this is Christmas night, and it is a dark navy mottled blue, kind of between a royal blue and a navy. And that's linen 36 count. Make sure. Yeah. That's what I like to stitch on. Since I kitted up a nautical piece with Winter Sea, which I had a piece of, I decided there was more available. I should buy another piece because it'll go nice for some other things. So this again is 36 count. Fiber on a Whim. This is 32 count linen. It's orchid, and you can see the modeling, and you know, it kind of looks like a lavender, but when you look at it in person, you can really see the darker purple models, so it doesn't give off the lavender vibes. Yeah, kind of, but I don't know. I just think it's pretty. So this is 32 count linen. And then Fabrics by Stephanie. This is 36 count butterscotch cookies. And I had in my wish list this, a suggestion of spicy mustard, which is another fabric, and I know that's might be something from JetX that was a JetX stitch pattern was stitched on, or someone else that's kind of up and coming. They had stitched on spicy mustard, and so I kind of had it in my wish book about get some spicy mustard. Well, I saw this and I thought, I've seen spicy mustard in the shop and not bought it, and I like this color a little better, and so maybe if I decide to do that pattern or something else that's like a bright colored pattern, this might come in handy. And this is 36 count linen, so that was a good price. And then Fabrics by Stephanie, linen 36 count. This is pomegranate. Now, pomegranate was used for, there was like a Ladybug Picnic, which was a Nashville release this year, and I loved the pattern, but I didn't have pomegranate, and everybody was buying pomegranate in March, so it was hard to get. And so I ended up, just ironically, the same month, getting Cotton Candy from Mystic Fabrics as their Fabric of the Month club, and I thought, hey, that's gonna go. I mean, that's gonna go just fine. I don't need the pomegranate, so I picked this up because I do like pink fabric, and I will find a use for it eventually. Okay, and then when I was in the shop, pull this out again. I think it was Sarah, one of the people who works for Jeannette at Acorns and Threads. She had started Blueberry J, and she had actually worked at a thread conversion with Pirate Robin at Pinwis, and so I'm not going to show their conversion. If you are interested, contact Acorns and Threads and ask for the ask if you can get a copy of the conversion. Being a customer and knowing everybody, I was like, wow, yeah, I would like that conversion. And Pirate Robin's colors are just intense and have some great variegations. And I actually have, I have that one, and I think I have that one. So there's like a couple I already own, but just the blue, the Pirate Robin like blue was just as brilliant as this light blue. And so, if you're interested, I say contact the shop, because it's not my property to share. And but anyway, all right, so I think that is everything with Curated Cross Stitch Collection. Oh, the one thing, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna show this. So I bought a shirt. It says, I have stability, and I will show the picture because, or maybe I will just back away from the camera. So it has, I have stability, and it's a little ducky with a knife, and it said ability to stab, which the Etsy shop, got in touch with me, and they said, hey, we're a small business. Can you please give us some reviews? And I said, hey, as a cross stitcher, I know in cross stitch community, we know stabbing. And the thing about this shop is, they're nice and they are new, and the shipping, it got immediately to me. And I don't think they're on the West Coast. I thought they were like back east somewhere. So I was really stunned to have this shirt with less than a week after I got it. And I noticed that the maker of this shirt is, I think it's called Comfort Colors. And that's the same fabric that they used to make last year's Jingle Ball t-shirts, because I got a Jingle Ball t-shirt, and I was looking at that tag, and then I wore the Jingle Ball shirt over the weekend, last weekend, and I was like, oh, that's the same, fabric, maybe the same t-shirt maker. So anyway, I will have their Etsy shop in the description for this video, and check them out because they have cute novelty t-shirts. And this is a long sleeve t-shirt, and it's in a nice light green color that works really well with my skin and hair color. And it also, I know from what people have said to me in the past, this color green brings out my eyes, although you probably can't see it on Flosstube. So that's it for Shopping Till You Drop, and I'm ready to drop and stitch.